No one saw this coming. The Boston Celtics, widely viewed as the team most likely to come out of the East, were eliminated by the Philadelphia 76ers. Today, let's break down the Celtics season. Finishing second in the regular season and facing the 7th seed, only to blow a 3-1 lead. That's obviously not something fans can accept. But when you look at the full context of the season, this was still a year that exceeded expectations. With Jason Tatum sidelined, the Celtics looked like they were headed for a tank early in the season. They moved on from both Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford, leaving a group of second-round picks to hold down the front court. It didn't look like a team trying to seriously compete. The reason was simple: saving money. Keeping those players and extending expiring contracts could have pushed their total payroll and luxury tax above $500 million. But after Tatum went down, a series of moves brought their payroll down to $186.5 million, below the luxury tax threshold. And then, unexpectedly, with Tatum out, Jaylen Brown took off, averaging 28.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 5.1 assists. He dragged the Celtics out of lottery territory and even into the upper half of the playoff picture. Peyton Pritchard and Derek White also stepped up. At that point, the front office realized the players were fighting too hard to ignore. So before the trade deadline, they brought in Nikola Vucevic to at least give them a real center. Then, after missing 65 games, Tatum finally returned. Everyone thought the Celtics were ready to make another run through the East. But their weakness inside was exposed late in the first round. Vucevic averaged just 6 points and 4 rebounds over 6 playoff games, and didn't even play in Game 7. Overall, the Celtics clearly exceeded internal expectations this season, but the outcome is awkward. They made the playoffs, only to lose in the first round, becoming the first team in NBA history to lose a Game 7 as a 2 seed against a 7 seed. At that point, you almost wonder if fully committing to the tank and chasing a high draft pick would have been better. If anything, the front office should have shown more confidence. Even without Tatum, this team was still capable in the regular season, so why rush to tear apart the front court? And as long as you make the playoffs, Tatum was always going to come back. In fact, his return came earlier than anyone expected, proof once again of his durability. As for why they lost in the playoffs, that comes down to their system. While most teams have started dialing back their reliance on three-point shooting in recent years, the Celtics doubled down on it. In the regular season, they could win quarters with just one made field goal, relying on threes and free throws to overwhelm opponents. Their perimeter and wing rotations were fast and aggressive, and with the mobility of Pritchard, Brown, and White, they held opponents to just 107.2 points per game, best in the league. But under playoff physicality, their weaknesses were exposed. They attempted 46.1 threes per game and made 15.6, both playoff highs. But their three-point percentage was just 33.7%, ranking 9th among playoff teams. Their interior scoring? Just 37.1 points per game, second worst in the playoffs, ahead of only the Magic. This system works against weaker teams. Once the threes start falling, they can blow opponents out quickly. But the 76ers aren't a soft opponent, and with Joel Embiid returning, they had the exact weapon to attack Boston's biggest weakness. Across 6 games, Embiid averaged 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. In Game 7, he dropped 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists, punishing the Celtics in the paint. Yes, misjudging their roster strength last offseason and losing their interior anchor was a key reason for the loss. But more importantly, they need to rethink whether this three-point heavy identity is still sustainable. Their 2023-24 championship over the Dallas Mavericks came partly because Dallas wasn't an elite team. They rode momentum in an underdog run to the finals. That doesn't mean Boston's system is unbeatable, and it certainly doesn't mean they can rely on a three-point barrage forever as a one-size-fits-all solution.